After spending 9 hours in the pouring rain installing a new roof to stop the leaks that were ruining its aesthetics, I came home soaked and shivering. My wife didn't even look up from the phone. "You stink. Take a shower before you touch things I paid for," she threw. And then, loud enough for her sister, "Sometimes I wish he'd fall off the roof and save me the trouble." I held back my anger and silently went into the shower. She called me 48 times last week. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to write something like this. But after everything that's happened, I need to get this off my chest, even if it's just shouting into the void. Maybe writing it out will help me process, or maybe someone else out there will read this and realize they're not crazy for feeling like they're drowning in a relationship where they're supposed to be loved. My name's Ethan, I'm 32, and I've been married to Ava, 30, for 5 years. We've been together for 7. And yeah, looking back, the red flags were there. I just didn't want to see them. Love makes you do that. Makes you blind, makes you stupid, makes you believe that a sigh, a silent treatment, or a cold shoulder is just a bad day, not a pattern. Last Tuesday, it was pouring rain, the kind of relentless, biblical downpour that floods roads and cancels flights. And there I was up on the damn roof. Not because I'm a masochist. Because Ava had been complaining for weeks that the ceiling stain from a small leak was completely ruining the aesthetic of her Instagram stories and making the house look tragic. She said she couldn't possibly invite her followers over for her home tour series if there were gross brown patches on the ceiling. So on my one day off, I climbed that ladder. The forecast said storms, but I figured I'd get it done before the worst hit. I was wrong. Within minutes, I was soaked to the bone. The wind was punishing, the rain kept blinding me, and my hands went numb somewhere around hour 6. But I kept going, kept sealing and patching and praying I wouldn't slip and break my neck. Because that's what you're supposed to do, right? Fix what's broken. Take care of your own. That's what my dad always said. By the 9th hour, I was shivering so bad I could barely grip the tools. My fingers looked like prunes. My jeans were heavy with rainwater, my boots squelched with every step. But I finished. I fixed it. I climbed down, barely feeling my legs, and limped toward the house. All I wanted was to step inside, take a hot shower, and maybe, I don't know, hear a thank you from my wife. Or see a bowl of soup waiting for me. Or literally any sign that she gave a damn that I just spent an entire day risking pneumonia to fix her social media backdrop. Instead, I walked in dripping, trying to stay on the tile so I wouldn't mess up the carpet. Ava was sprawled out on the $1,500 white couch that I'm still paying off. Her sister Maya was over, both of them drinking wine, laughing at something on their phones. Neither of them even looked up. When Ava finally noticed me, she didn't ask if I was okay. Didn't ask if I got the roof fixed. She scrunched her nose and said, "You smell like wet dog. Can you not touch anything I paid for?" Then, without missing a beat, she turned to Maya and said loud enough that it was clearly meant for me, "Sometimes I wish he'd just fall off that roof and save me the trouble." Maya burst out laughing. Like that was funny. Like my wife wishing I'd die was just a little inside joke between sisters. I stood there, dripping water and, yeah, probably a few tears too. And Ava just went right back to scrolling. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. But instead, I just went to the bathroom and took a shower. 20 straight minutes under burning water, just trying to feel anything other than that hollow ache in my chest. That night, we went to bed in silence. Her back was to me, phone in hand, thumb scrolling endlessly through other people's lives. And I started thinking, really thinking, about our finances. When was the last time Ava contributed to the mortgage? She works kind of. She calls herself an influencer, but most of her income goes to makeup hauls, subscription boxes, and content materials that pile up unopened in the guest room. I realized I couldn't remember the last time she paid a bill. The next morning, while she was at Pilates, I did something I'd never done before. I opened her shared bank account and really looked. It didn't take long. There were monthly transfers going to her personal account. Small ones, $200 here, $300 there, just under the radar. But they added up. Then I saw my name on not one, but 3 credit card accounts I didn't even know existed. That's when I texted Liam, my best friend since college. "Beer tonight? Need to talk." We met up at this little dive bar we used to haunt when we were broke 20-somethings. No selfies, no hashtags, just sticky floors and cheap drinks. I told him everything, the roof, the insult, the money, all of it. He just listened, nodded, let me get it all out. Then he looked me dead in the eye and said, "What would you tell me to do if I came to you with this story?" I didn't even hesitate. "I'd tell you to run." He nodded. "So why aren't you?" That hit me like a punch to the gut. Because I didn't have a good answer. Habit? Hope? Fear? I don't know. Maybe all of it. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that the person I married could become someone who wished I was dead because I wasn't Instagram friendly enough. That night, Ava asked me to hang up some shelves in her office for a new partnership she had lined up. I looked at her, really looked at her, and asked about the credit cards. The reaction was instant: tears, accusations, yelling. "You're trying to control me," she shouted. "You don't support my career. All my friends' husbands help without complaining." I didn't yell back. I just shut down. I started sleeping in the guest room. I started paying closer attention to every receipt, every transaction, every lie. And what I found was only the beginning. I didn't sleep that night. Not because Ava was crying in the next room, she wasn't. She went to bed like nothing had happened, like we hadn't just had a blowout over hidden debt in my name. She even left her phone on loud, and I could hear TikToks playing on and off as I stared at the ceiling in the guest room, listening to the radiator hiss. I wasn't angry. Not exactly. It was something colder. A stillness I'd never felt before. I'd spent years brushing off Ava's jabs, making excuses for her spending, pretending the relationship was just in a rough patch. But that night, lying there in the dark, something shifted. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was just done lying to myself. The next morning, while she was at Pilates again, or maybe brunch, who the hell knows, I sat down with my laptop and went deeper. Opened every account I could think of. I wasn't ready for what I found. Those 3 credit cards? Turned out it wasn't 3. It was 5. 5 cards. All in my name. All maxed out or close to it. The total balance? Just over $24,000. I had to double-check the screen, thinking maybe I was logged into the wrong account or looking at something from years ago. But no, it was all recent. Last few months. The charges were painfully specific: expensive skincare subscriptions, spa packages, business trip, hotels I'd never heard about. And then there were the transfers, large ones, to someone labeled only as R in her payment history. I didn't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out what was going on. I screenshotted everything. Every transfer, every charge, every red flag. Then I opened a new bank account at a completely different bank. Rerouted my paycheck, locked my credit, and called a lawyer. Her name was Alicia. Sharp, calm, not the least bit surprised by my story. I remember telling her, "I feel like I'm being paranoid." She just nodded and said, "No, you're being prepared." That night, I didn't tell Ava where I was going. Just said I had errands. Instead, I met Liam again. This time, it wasn't just for a beer. We cleared out a few important things from the house: documents, my passport, a couple family heirlooms. The kind of stuff Alicia told me might suddenly disappear if things went south. When I left the house that evening, I didn't go back. I turned off my phone and crashed on Liam's couch. Didn't even explain everything. Just said I needed a few nights. He gave me a blanket, tossed me a pillow, and said, "Take your time." I don't know what I did to deserve a friend like him, but in that moment, he felt like the only real part of my life. The silence was incredible. No notifications. No passive-aggressive sighs. No pretending. Just stillness. When I finally turned my phone back on the next morning, it exploded: 37 missed calls from Ava. And not a single one of them said anything about me. Every message was about the dishwasher flooding. "Where are you? The kitchen's soaked. I need you to come fix this now." "No, are you okay?" "No, please come home." "Just, the house needs something. You fix things. Why aren't you fixing it?" I didn't reply. By day 2, the messages doubled. Texts, DMs, missed calls. Now she was panicking, but not about me. About appearances. Apparently, some of her followers had started asking where her husband was after she posted about calling a plumber and blowing $300 on an emergency visit. I guess even the perfect influencer wife has to explain when her handyman husband disappears. While she scrambled for damage control, I followed my lawyer's checklist. Every day, one step. I went to the bank. Froze all joint accounts. Opened a fraud report for the 2 cards I had absolutely no knowledge of. Pulled up our statements from the past 2 years. It was like watching a slow-motion car crash, except it was my credit score and my future. And then came the kicker: I found hotel charges in cities neither of us had visited. Weekend stays, spa services for 2, romantic add-ons. She hadn't even tried to hide it. I guess she never expected I'd look. I couldn't prove who was with her, not yet. But I had a hunch. That R in the payment apps? I was 90% sure it stood for Ryan, her ex. The same guy she swore was ancient history. The same guy she claimed only texted occasionally as a friend. I didn't want to believe it. But my gut had already moved on from belief. It just wanted facts. On day 4, things hit a new level. Ava showed up at my workplace. I hadn't told her where I was staying, but she must have guessed I'd return to work eventually. She marched into the lobby like a hurricane in heels, full of crocodile tears and dramatic concern. She even filed a missing person report. The police called me to confirm I was alive. I told them I was fine, just taking space. They closed the case, but not before word got around. It was humiliating. That night, Liam and I were eating takeout when his phone buzzed. He looked at it and raised his eyebrows. "It's Maya," he said. I froze. He handed me the phone. It was a screenshot, a message from Maya. "Ava's telling people you've had a mental breakdown, that you've been unstable for months, that she's scared of you." My blood went cold. I stared at the screen, then opened my laptop and pulled up everything I'd saved. The credit cards, the transfers, the messages. I sent them to Liam, who forwarded them to Maya. An hour later, Maya called me herself. I almost didn't answer, but something in me needed to hear what she had to say. Her voice was quiet. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't know it was this bad. I laughed at that thing she said on the couch, the roof joke. I thought it was whatever. But it wasn't okay. None of this is okay." Then she dropped a bomb. "Ava's been talking to Ryan. For months. It's not just texts. I've seen the messages. Pictures. Plans. She told me it was harmless. Just flirting. Boosting engagement. But it wasn't harmless." I asked about the payments. The name R. Silence. Then she whispered, "Yeah, that's him." And just like that, whatever part of me was still hoping this was all a misunderstanding, it died. I returned to the house 5 days after I left. Not because I wanted to, not to forgive, not to reconcile, but because my lawyer said I had to. According to Alicia, being physically present in the home gave me certain legal rights. Rights I'd lose if I stayed gone too long. She advised me to document everything, take photos of our shared possessions, and start building a paper trail. So that's what I did. I packed my bag, printed out my checklists, and went back to the place that used to be my home. Walking through the front door felt like entering a stage set. Familiar, but fake. Nothing had moved. The same stack of unopened packages in the hallway. The same smell of overpriced candles. And there she was, Ava, on the couch, scrolling her phone like always. Only this time, she jumped up when she saw me. "Ethan," she said, like I'd just returned from war. "Oh my God, where were you? I've been calling. I was so worried." I held up a hand. "Don't." She froze mid-step. I dropped my bag by the wall and looked her in the eye. "I know about the credit cards. I know about the money transfers. And I know about Ryan." Her mouth opened, then closed. Then opened again. It was like watching someone reboot in real time. "What?" "Ethan, no. You've got it all wrong. I was going to tell you." "No, you weren't," I said. "You were going to keep bleeding me dry while telling your sister how much you wished I'd fall off a roof." The silence that followed was suffocating. Then came the excuses. The gaslighting. The revisionist history. "You've always been so controlling," she said. "You never supported my creativity. You were jealous of my success. You made me feel small." I didn't say a word. I just let her burn through her playlist of emotional manipulation like a bad mixtape. When that didn't work, she switched tactics. Tried to touch my arm. Said she missed me. Said we could start over. Even tried to seduce me. I slept in the guest room with the door locked. The next morning, I laid down the new rules. Clear. Simple. Bulletproof. "We're living under one roof until the divorce is final," I said. "We split expenses 50/50ths. All joint accounts are frozen, already done. You have 30 days to explain the credit card charges or the fraud reports go through. I'm not fixing anything in this house. You want something repaired, call someone. I'm done." She thought I was bluffing. That afternoon, she knocked on the door of my makeshift office with her usual fake sweet voice. "Hey, the garbage disposal's jammed. Can you just—" I handed her a business card. "This guy's great. Fair prices." The look on her face was priceless, like I'd just broken the laws of physics. Over the next few days, she tried everything. Sympathy. Flotation. Guilt. Nothing worked. So she moved on to psychological warfare. She started telling our friends I was mentally unstable. Claimed I'd snapped. When they reached out, I sent them the screenshots. The statements. The proof. Most of them stopped responding to her after that. She tried using Maya to get to me. But Maya was done too. She sent me texts now and then, short ones, just to check in. "Stay strong," she wrote once. "She's unraveling." Even my mom got a call. Ava cried on the phone, claimed I'd abandoned her, said she didn't know how to survive on her own. My mom, bless her, said, I always knew you were fake. And hung up. But the storm didn't truly hit until 3 days after I moved back in, when the sky opened up for real. It was a brutal thunderstorm. Wind, lightning, sheets of rain. I was sitting in the guest room reading when I heard it, the unmistakable drip, drip, drip. Then came the scream. Ethan. I walked out to find Ava standing in the middle of her home office, staring at a growing puddle of water pooling on top of her vanity. The same vanity where she filmed her tutorials. The same ceiling I had fixed before she hired someone to double-check my work while I was gone. Only instead of fixing it, whoever she hired had made it worse. You need to help me, she cried. This is ruining everything. I looked at the water. Then I looked at her. I suggest you grab a chair and a bucket, I said. It's what I had to do for months while you laughed about me behind my back. Then I grabbed my jacket and left. I met with Knox, my old mentor. Semi-retired now, but still the sharpest contractor I know. We got coffee and I told him everything. He listened, nodded, didn't interrupt. Then he looked at me and said, you ever thought about starting your own business? Like what? Contracting? He shrugged. You've got the skills. The discipline. And now you've got motivation. That stuck with me. For the first time in a long time, I started thinking about a future that didn't involve putting out fires for someone else. A future where I built things that lasted for people who appreciated the work. Back at the house, things kept unraveling. Ava posted vague sympathy bait captions online. Sometimes the people who say they love you are the ones who hurt you the most. Her followers flooded her with hearts and stay strong messages. But her real friends? Silence. 2 weeks in, something finally changed. I came into the kitchen one morning and found her sitting at the table. No phone. No makeup. No camera in sight. She looked tired. Not her usual, just woke up tired. Really tired. Eyes red. Shoulders hunched. She slid a folder toward me. Inside were bank statements showing she'd paid off 2 of the 5 credit cards from her personal savings. It wasn't much, but it was something. I messed up, she said. I said nothing. I thought I could control everything, she continued. But I couldn't. I took you for granted. I know that now. I waited. Let the silence hang in the air like wet clothes on a line. I want to talk, she said. About maybe giving us another shot. I almost laughed. But I didn't. Instead, I slid a piece of paper across the table. The lease to my new apartment. I was moving out next week. Then I opened my phone and showed her something I'd found the night before, a thread of messages between her and Ryan. Explicit, graphic, and timestamped for the exact weekend I'd been gone. A weekend that never happened because she'd been too busy dealing with the fallout of me vanishing. Her face crumbled. I didn't gloat. Didn't shout. I just stood up, took my coffee, and left the room. I moved out the following Monday. Liam helped me haul the essentials, my tools, my mattress, the flat screen, a few crates of clothes and books. It was just a 1-bedroom rental on the edge of town, nothing fancy. But it was mine. No passive-aggressive sighs about dirty dishes. No silent judgment about what I wore, watched, or ate. The walls were bare, the fridge nearly empty, but that first night on my own, sitting on an unassembled IKEA couch, I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. For a while, I kept waiting for that peace to crack. Kept expecting the guilt to creep in or for Ava to show up crying at my door. But instead, she switched tactics. First came the texts, long, flowery paragraphs about how she missed me. How our home felt empty. How she realized she hadn't appreciated everything I'd done. How she was doing the work on herself, translation, watching TikToks from therapists with ring lights. When that didn't work, she went for guilt. She sent photos of leaks in the house. Screenshots of expensive repair estimates. Voicemails full of sighs and sniffles. She posted selfies online with captions like, healing from betrayal is hard. But I'm strong. I'll survive. Her followers lapped it up, of course. Heart emojis. Encouragement. You got this, queen. Meanwhile, I was starting something new. Knox, my old mentor, put me in touch with some small local contractors who were overloaded with spring jobs. Roofing. Gutters. Fixes after the last storm. I picked up a few shifts, then a few more. One client turned into 3, then 5. I wasn't rolling in money, but for the first time in a long time, every hour of sweat meant something. I was building things. Solving problems. Getting paid for honest work instead of being emotionally extorted in my own house. And then, of course, Ryan resurfaced. Maya caught them at a cafe together, Ava and Ryan giggling over iced coffees. They were playing footsie under the table, she texted me. She says it's just a business meeting. Yeah, sure. I wasn't even surprised. Ava thought once I was gone, the money would keep flowing, that somehow the divorce would end in her favor, that she'd walk away with half of everything and keep living her luxe on a budget lifestyle. She had no idea I documented everything. A month into the proceedings, we had our first real divorce mediation. Ava showed up with a new lawyer, young guy, maybe 26, who kept calling me sir with the terrified tone of someone who just realized his client was in trouble. He tried arguing that Ava had contributed non-financially to the household through emotional support and by building a digital brand that benefited both parties. My lawyer calmly opened a folder. Screenshots. Receipts. Her comment about wishing I'd fall off the roof. Her texts mocking my cooking. Her secret payments to Ryan. Credit card statements showing she'd hired outside handymen while telling her followers I did the work. The lawyer stopped talking. Ava started crying. Real tears this time. Mascara streaks and sniffles. It might have moved me once. Not anymore. The settlement was fair but firm. The house would be sold. Debt split. She kept the credit card debt she racked up. We'd split whatever was left after the mortgage, which wasn't much thanks to the water damage. She tried one last play, claimed emotional distress. Asked for temporary support. The judge asked for evidence. There was none. She signed the papers 3 days later. I thought that would be it. Separation. Closure. Move on. But life rarely gives you clean endings. Last week, I was at the hardware store grabbing wood for a deck job at Liam's place when I bumped carts, literally, with Ava. We both froze. She looked different. No makeup. No fake lashes. Hair pulled back, dark roots showing. She wasn't the polished version I used to see glowing under ring lights. She looked tired. Small. Real. Her cart had ramen, off-brand soap, and a plunger. We ended up grabbing coffee at the small cafe next door. Just sitting there. No fights. No drama. Just awkward conversation between two people who once thought they'd grow old together. She told me the house finally sold well below market thanks to the damage. She was moving into a studio apartment. Had picked up part-time retail work to cover her bills. Brand deals had slowed. Turns out hashtags about healing don't sell skincare like cute couple pics do. And then she said something I never thought I'd hear. I'm sorry. Not a backhanded sorry if you felt hurt. Not a manipulative sorry, but just, I treated you like crap. I know that. I got caught up in trying to look perfect. I forgot how to be decent. I nodded. That was all. As we got up to leave, she asked, have you seen any of my new posts? I shook my head. I'd blocked her on everything months ago. She pulled out her phone and showed me her latest video. What I learned from my divorce, taking accountability. It had more views than anything she'd posted in months. I didn't watch the whole thing. Didn't need to. As I walked back to my truck, I felt strange. Not angry. Not smug. Just released. Like I'd finally put something down that had been weighing on me so long I didn't even know it was heavy. Yesterday, I finished a small roofing job for a single mom in my neighborhood. Nothing major, just patching up damage from the last storm. When I was done, she made me lunch, a simple sandwich and chips, and we ate at her kitchen table while her son showed me his Minecraft world. No photos. No performative thank yous. No hashtags. Just gratitude. Just real life. As I packed up my tools, my phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. It was Maya. She texted. Just wanted you to know Ava finally told our parents everything. The debt. Ryan. All of it. She's getting it together, I think. Anyway. I'm sorry for everything. You deserve better. I slid my phone into my pocket and looked up at the roof I just fixed. Clean. Solid. No leaks. The kind of roof that doesn't need filters or followers or constant attention to hold. Sometimes you have to tear down before you can rebuild. Sometimes what feels like collapse is just the beginning of something stronger.